Okay, people often talk about the stages of grief, 7 stages of grief, but many times they aren't talking about the other emotions. If you talk about sadness, anger, fear, or happiness, um, they don't realize that there's 7 stages to those as well, and especially 7 stages of anger. A lot of times in ACA, we feel like we have underlying anger all the time, and there's 7 stages of that too. And the first stage of dealing with a feeling is denial, sometimes shock or surprise, and it can even be happiness, like, oh, is this a surprise birthday party? You can be shocked and surprised at, and denial, thinking, well, that nobody did that for you. Yes, they did. So yeah, we get surprised. We definitely get surprised and want to deny when bad things are happening. And denial is a safety valve. It's your subconscious helping you to keep functioning. And it turns off the things that are the most difficult so that you can continue functioning. So it does have a positive reason. Your subconscious is always trying to protect you, even if it's doing it in ways that aren't so beneficial. Then you tend to start feeling the pain and sometimes guilt if you feel like you might have caused something. And as children, of course, we always believe that we did cause something. We don't have any scope of information outside of ourselves. So there can also be guilt coming up at that time for whatever happened. Could have absolutely nothing to do with you, but guilt can come up. Or shame, which is, guilt is about what you do. Shame is about who you are, the real you. We weren't meant to be guilty or shamed. We really aren't. We're all right. We can do what we learn, and that's what our parents did, and their parents before them. They did what they knew. It wasn't always good. Then we get into anger, and anger, of course, is the fighting back stage, where you come out of denial. You feel the pain. It's like, you did this to me, and it's wrong, and I'm angry. And then we can go into the next steps, which are from anger and bargaining. Bargaining is where you're trying to reason with the whole thing, and it's like, well, if you didn't do this and I didn't want to do that, which is also a manipulation, or bargaining with, well, what if I did this? Would that suit you with this? So we start bargaining with things. When we get past that, we can often feel like we haven't done something right enough, and we can turn the anger inwards. It's like we swallow it. Sometimes this causes food issues as well, but we choke our anger back, and then we get into depression. And depression is a real trap all along this line, as you'll see soon. And then we'll get into testing. It's like, well, is this really true? Is this really working? Is this not working? I don't know if anything's working. You can drop back into depression, or you can get angry because it's not working, or you can go back into denial. But the end stage is acceptance. And acceptance is simply, this is what is. We can't do anything about it, but we also don't have to keep living with it. And we can stop anytime we choose. As soon as we understand what's really happening, then we identify the pattern, we identify the behavior, and we can stop. And this is one of the things that ACA is so beneficial with, is identifying the behavior, because we all have similar ones. They may take different forms, and they start out on the laundry list, and then they progress into the other laundry list. And basically, the first one is passive, and the second one is aggressive. Our goal is to reach the middle and to be assertive. A lot of us have never even experienced assertive or heard it before. So learning to be assertive is where we're actually headed. But it's normal to go from the first laundry list to the other laundry list. That swing is absolutely normal. And then to come back towards the middle, toward assertiveness. So without going into detail about any of those, the important thing is to know that these steps are not usually experienced in order. As much as, people like to think that, well, you're in this now, so next you'll be in that. They are not experienced in order. They will come up differently with different strengths, just like waves on an ocean. They aren't going to, cause the same reaction each time, because as you learn more, you'll react differently. That's why we want to stop and think and respond. So that's what I'm going to work on tonight, is the fact that all of these, including happiness, sadness, fear, and anger, all have 7 stages to them. Some more than others, of one thing or another. But even happiness, the depression, things like that can come up when it's like, well, but this is going to pass. It won't last. It'll go away. It won't come back. It will go away, but it will come back, because whatever is full empties and whatever is empty fills. And so things aren't permanent, especially feelings. Feelings are little electrical emotional blips in your brain and changes in your body chemistry. So they will go away, but they will also come back. You can count on that. And so the 7 stages are something to hang on to, simply because they will help you identify where you are in the healing process with that particular emotion, and know that it will change with circumstances, and stop beating yourself up over it, because when they change, it's just the nature of things. Just accept it. That is what is. The feelings will change. They will go away. They will come back. They come in various strengths and various frequencies. Grief, especially, people are aware that it's like 20 years later, something will remind them of something that they're grieving. And immediately there's a reminder. It's like, yeah, I still miss someone, but it gets shorter and it gets less painful. And so anyway, it's a matter of moving through them and stop making them be rigidly obedient to you, or you being rigidly obedient to them. They are flexible. And a lot of times people say, well, I don't know, I thought I was done with that. No, as you understand more, you'll go back to it and understand more of it. That's why it takes healing time. And dysfunction and abuse is like a spider web. It will kind of stick onto any area of your life and grow into it. So the good news is, when you eliminate part of it, it's likely to eliminate all of the rest of the threads on that particular thing. But like on that spider web, it does tend to be clingy and sticky and get into every area of your life. So that's why it's important to repeat beneficial things, as kind of as much as you repeated the painful ones. We need to put as much attention and as much energy into healing as we did into being abused. And that means years, probably, are going to have to unravel for us to be well. But the good news is, when you unravel one chunk, it's like, imagine that spider web again. If you break the little strands that are connecting to things, the entire spider web falls down. The entire thing turns loose. So that's what this work does, is it helps to disconnect those core behavior patterns, so the rest of it can fall down by itself. You don't have to relive every trauma. There are sets of traumas and sets of patterns, and the whole group will break away in chunks. The first beneficial change that you have will create more beneficial change in other areas. And it is exponential. It grows. It grows repeatedly with more work. So with that said, let's begin to get comfortable and just lie back. And one thing that I do in this group is give you a positive trigger, because we're used to triggers that can set us off, but we never stop to think that there's positive triggers as well. One of those that is so powerful that they're beginning to use it with cancer patients when they're giving them chemotherapy. And the way it works, excuse me, I'm trying to get a little drink of water here. The way it works is they are using a pleasant aroma, like an aromatherapy scent that is non-toxic and just pleasant. When they administer this to the patient at the same time that they're administering chemotherapy, they have found that when they go back and they put that aromatherapy, just a drop on a cotton ball will do it. If you can smell that, it will cause the body to react as though it was being given chemotherapy. The immune system rapidly expands and starts working full on as if you were being given chemotherapy. So what we're doing is triggering positive behaviors and positive feelings by reusing a scent that is pleasing to us. So when you're doing this work, I would think it would be good for you when you come to this group to do this work, bring a cotton ball with a little bit of a scent on it that is very pleasing to you. Most pleasant one you can think of. It will help you to solidify that scent in your mind. Then you can take that little cotton ball to all of your other groups or any other work that you're doing and get a whiff of that scent, and it will trigger you back into a positive place of healing. So scent really helps repeat beneficial experiences. And the other thing that we're doing is putting our thumb and finger together. We're going to take a deep breath and hold it to the count of 4, and then exhale slowly to the count of 8. And I'll tell you when to take that breath. Right now, put the thumb and finger together and allow your eyes to close if they aren't already. Take a deep breath with your back and neck supported. You can move any little bit here and there that you need to make yourself completely comfortable. And begin to gather up any stress or tension, any place in your body, and move it directly to that thumb and finger. It can just flow right through your muscles and veins and all the tissue in your body, through your bones, and move it right to that thumb and finger where they touch. And you'll notice that you can concentrate on the feeling of your fingertip or the feeling on your thumb. You can use your dominant hand or your non-dominant hand. Your subconscious can choose which is best for you. And with that stress and tension moving to your thumb and finger, take that deep breath now and hold it as I count 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just deeply relax. Allow yourself to drift down to a comfortable place and listen to the silence. Exhale slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Getting ready now. 7. To just drop that tension on the floor. And 8. Drop your hand. Drop your thumb and finger and let go of any of that tension. Just let it fall on the floor. And drift down deeper. There may be a feeling of lifting or floating. There may be a heavy weightlessness. One hand or arm might feel heavy and the other feel light. It's all natural as you enter into what's closest to a state of daydream. That daydreaming begins to separate you from any of the things that you block your energy with, any of the things that you block your thoughts with. It's always there for you. And your subconscious will always protect you from any negative or unuseful suggestion. The way it does this by sometimes allowing you to put it on the shelf to look at later because you just might not be ready to accept it right now. And you can go back and revisit it. Or it may be just resting there in your mind for you to think that really isn't for me, but I'll take a closer look at it. And if it absolutely doesn't apply to you, then your subconscious will simply say, nope, that's about somebody else. So let all of the work that you've done in your step work or in any other program of healing, any other modality of therapy or anything else that you've done, let all of that begin to gather up and to organize itself in your subconscious mind. And as you begin to drift down, you can imagine yourself in a room with filing cabinets in it. The filing cabinet drawers are lined up, and there are 10 of them. And as I count from 10 down to 1, you can just relax and go deeper, moving from number 10 to 9. Your subconscious is looking for some specific thing to benefit from today. Moving to 8. And maybe you see something there at 9. And then go back down to 8. 7. 6. Drifting down to a place where you can get in contact with the most healing and beneficial things that you've learned. As you move to 7 and 6, drifting and floating, and 5. When you reach 5, you're halfway there. Halfway to complete relaxation. And on the next cabinet, number 4, for your highest benefit, for your information to be more readily available, for your memory to improve, to remember good things as well as difficult passages you've been through on your life. And 3. 3 is a very stable number. Cabinet number 3 is very steady because just like a 3-legged stool, it will level itself. It'll always level that mood and comfort it. So when we move from 3 to 2, we can take that deep comfort with us and move down to 1. So your body, mind, spirit, emotions are all one because you are one person. The original you is there. The real you, with its natural emotions and responses, it's there. And it's right there in that filing cabinet, right there in your subconscious mind. And just like paperwork piles up, sometimes things get a little bit lost down there, but they aren't really lost. They've just been misplaced. Or maybe they haven't even been filed yet. So take one more step to 0. And at 0, just let everything drop away and allow yourself to look at some of the things that have been misplaced, to see how those papers may be there on a desk that never got filed. And as you look through them, you might find one that's about happy memories. But you couldn't see them because there were other things piled on top of them. And very quickly, you can separate those papers and you can stop trying and just let your subconscious do this, because it knows exactly what I'm talking about. And you can very quickly separate those memories, separate those feelings, thoughts, ideas, where happy goes into one pile, because we always want to remember happy. We want to remember that we have a right to that feeling as well. A lot of times people talk about frozen feelings, and in fact, the main one that's frozen is happy. We think if we learn how to be really angry and really afraid and really sad, we're doing really good. But today, we realize we have to unlock that file that says happy as well. You absolutely have a right to those happy feelings. It can even be something like pretending that you're sitting on the shore. It could be a beach or a lake, whichever you choose. And you're just watching the water completely at rest. You can stop doing everything and give yourself time to honor all of your feelings, including happiness. And as you gaze over that silky, gently rippling water, it's soothing, and you can almost imagine being rocked gently on it. And looking into the distance, there's something moving out there. And you might imagine that it starts to come to the surface. And there's a big gray whale, a very gentle creature, moving slowly ahead in the water. And then there's real excitement and happiness when you see another smaller being come to the surface. And there's a baby. It's a mother and her little calf. And as they bob up to the surface, you might stand and wade into the water. And the baby begins to swim over to you. And as it gets closer, be aware that it's actually looking at you. Its little eye is turned towards you, and it likes this gentle person that it sees, and it wants to share its happiness with you because it is happy to see you. It's happy to have the comfort and company. And the mother just gently moves her fin as if to give the baby permission to move over towards you. And you can move further into the water and reach out your hand, because these gentle creatures are absolutely harmless. And they're very intelligent. When you look into their eyes, you can tell that they see you, that they recognize you. And they have a wisdom about the sea. They have a wisdom about the planet. And the baby comes over, and as you reach out your hand, it actually swims under your hand as if to pet your hand. It just gently rises up under your hand so you can feel its silky skin, smooth and slipping by. And the mother makes some little noises, and the baby makes noises back. And they both are letting you know that everything is well. Everything is the way it should be. But you're welcome there. And you can help them. You can actually help them by being aware of the things that they need to have a clean environment. And you can feel good about yourself because you know that you've helped pick things up, and you've helped just by caring and sending your compassion to them, your compassion to the water and all of the life force that's in it. And they know that they have frozen water from a dirty pond, and it made a really ugly ice crystal. You can see them really close up with a microscope, and they're really not right. You can tell they're not right. The water is dirty. But then people have taken that same water and they have prayed over it or meditated over it, and they've frozen it again. And it's amazing because the crystal is clear and beautifully formed. They form into six-pointed stars, and they sparkle just like the light in that baby's eyes, and just like that shimmer of the sunlight on the mother. And they move their big tails, and they're very gentle to move around you. I had a friend once that got right in and swam with them. And she was over 60 years old. But she decided that she was going to swim with the whales. And she did. When she got below the surface in her scuba gear, she saw the plants and how they grew, how they waved gently in the water and carried her deeper into relaxation. Took her down to a place where she could just know that those things were real. In her imagination, she could reach out and touch them. And the mother and babies swam around. And the mother, the really big one, swam down deep, and she was fascinated watching them as they rolled over. And the mother, very, very carefully, very slowly, began to rise towards the surface. And at first she felt afraid, but she remembered something we had talked about. She remembered that sometimes when you think you're having fear or anxiety, what you're really having is excitement, because we're so used to having negative things said and done around us in a dysfunctional home that we always tend to think of the other side. So she started thinking about the excitement that this enormous creature was actually swimming with her very, very carefully. And it began to float up beneath her. And she only had thoughts of love for this enormous animal. She only had thoughts of kindness towards the baby. She genuinely wanted the best for them. And when that whale turned over, it looked at her with its big eye. And she felt this radiant love coming back to her. That's a natural part of the earth. Natural beings have sometimes supernatural love. Your higher power is able to speak to you through anything. And she felt as though her higher power was actually speaking to her through the movements and the gentle kindness of those enormous sea creatures. And while she was being amazed at that, the mother began to float up towards her. And here's this giant creature floating up underneath of her. And again, she felt excitement. And she realized that this animal was trying to befriend her. At first, she thought she'd get away from it, or she would fear it, or she had to get it away from her. But then she decided that she would just, this one time, have trust to go along with her excitement. And she thought, I'll trust the excitement and I'll trust the happiness. And the reason I have trouble trusting it is because I don't know what it is. I've never experienced happiness, certainly not like this, in this silky blue-green water, warm, and little schools of other fish swam by. She saw everything that was around them, brightly colored little fish, crustaceans on the bottom, walking around, and everything was in harmony with everything else. And she thought, what an excellent adventure. She thought, I'm going to hang on to this feeling because this is happiness. This is excitement. I have nothing to fear. And she let that whale rise up underneath of her and actually begin to lift her to the surface, fully supporting her body. It gently rose up to the surface. And she was amazed to find that the contact with her was so loving and so gentle. And that's something that we aren't always used to. She sure wasn't. But that one experience where she truly felt happiness and support and a shared kindness with these creatures helped her also begin to experience trust. She understood that not only had her other emotions been frozen and locked away from her, but so had happiness. And she thought, I'm going to take this as a sign from my higher power that I can open the door to happiness. I can open the door to trust. I'll do it carefully. Of course, I'll use my common sense. And she was being careful, as she should have been, but she allowed herself to respond instead of reacting. And that giant creature floated her all the way to the surface. And at the surface, she saw another whale that dived. I think they call it fluking, where they throw their big tail up in the air and the water flies everywhere. And then they give a mighty push and they hurl themselves toward the bottom. And she saw what this other whale did. And it was a little bit of a jolt to her to realize there was a shark in the water. And the other whale, the one that dived for the bottom, swam over and rammed the shark. It was actually protecting her, just like it was protecting the babies. That's what good parents do. They sometimes even throw themselves in harm's way to be able to give all of the love and support they can to the babies. Because that's what they learn. They learn to do that growing up. So they continue to do it. And the mother whale gently urged her over, just swimming almost against her, very slightly moving, and urged her over to the boat. And the baby was swimming right against the mother. And she knew that it was protecting her. She knew that it was telling her it's time to move to safety now. And she also knew that she could come back again anytime she wanted to experience happiness. And as the whale gently rested in the water, while she climbed onto the boat. They both turned over one more time and they looked at her. And she knew that in the grand order of things, her higher power had sent them not only to meet her, but to teach her something about love and compassion, to teach her the kindness of what we consider to be a wild animal. But it played with her, it swam with her, it protected her, and it took her to safety. And she trusted it. That was probably the first time in her life she had experienced all of that. And she realized that it was time for her to experience that on a regular basis. She also found that just because she knew all of those things, she could just go down to the ocean or to a lake because it was all the same to her. She knew that there were creatures there that were going to respond to that universal guidance because that higher power runs through all things. It's what keeps life in order. And just by being there and gazing over the water, the memories came to her. And she made an imprint of that in her subconscious. And she filed that paperwork away in just the right file folder and just the right cabinet so she could very easily find it again anytime she chose. We need to file our good memories away like that because they strengthen us. They give us courage. They give us hope. And most of all, they give us happiness. And we're entitled to that. The same way those whales were entitled to her kindness. And she said she knew that they could feel her loving them. And she could feel their love coming in return. So whether it's a fish or a bird or a pet, it can be anybody, anything, even looking at a little seed that breaks the earth. Know that a blade of grass can push its way through concrete. It does it all the time. A flexible, thin little blade of grass. It can push its way through a boulder. So sometimes just looking at a green shoot of some kind can give you hope, can give you strength. One time I was walking down an alley and saw this one stick coming up out of the ground with maybe a couple of dozen leaves on it. And right at the top of it, there was one big lemon. And this was only a stick. It was 2, maybe 3 foot tall. One little lemon tree forcing its way through concrete. And it produced one of the biggest lemons I've ever seen. Just one. And I remember that because it gave me strength and it gave me hope for some of the most difficult things that I've ever done. I thought if it could survive and produce that lemon in those conditions, then I was going to make it. And just like the lady with the whales, she knew when that whale gently supported her, she knew that the universe was going to help her, that that divine love was there to surround her and to lift her gently out of harm's way. And she didn't know what to do when it was happening. She just did what came naturally. And when she let her feelings, all of them, including happiness, come, she realized that she had broken through fear and anxiety, and she had arrived at excitement and joy. And that's a true story. And it's time for you to begin to think of some of those things that support you as well. And to realize that whatever it is that you're feeling will have different stages. It will come up in different forms. And you can trust it. And know that there is nothing to fear because you've already lived through it. It's in the past. Right here and right now. Just like right in that precious moment, she was actually being carried by a whale out of harm's way and to safety. Your higher power believes in you. Honor the joy just as much as you honor all of the other feelings because they are all part of you. And in this very moment, let it become a permanent part of you, filed away in that cabinet where you can very quickly and easily access it. And remind yourself it's always there, as well as everything else. Yes, it will go away, but it will also come back. And just like walking to the cabinet and opening the drawer and pulling that memory out of the file, you make the effort to reach it, and it will come. It's there just as surely as black and white is white. It's right there waiting for you to access it. You can access it to gain strength in whatever situation you find yourself. Because one of the greatest things to have is hope. Begin to trust your higher power and to bring that with you back into the present time. To bring it with you back into your current place and circumstance. And when I count from 1 to 5, at the count of 5, arrive back in your everyday life, but with that a permanent part of your memory, because it is a true story. It's true for you just as much as anyone else because now you've heard it. You know it. Number one, just begin to come up and know that you've done a very good job. Number two, feel your weight on that supportive surface beneath you and know that we always rest on supportive surfaces, never on ones that are unsupportive. Number three, just move around a little bit. Take a deep breath. Number four, wiggle your fingers and toes. And number five, just open your eyes, feeling absolutely wonderful all the way back.